Today we are unboxing Young Goodman Brown by Nathaniel Hawthorne. So first up, we have this pink ribbon. This pink ribbon was given to Young Goodman Brown by his wife right before he departed into his journey into the dark forest, and it was worn by his wife. It showed as a symbol of innocence, purity, and faith, and just overall unwavering character. And it also serves as a sense of religious and fidelity in a relationship and just the overall faith in that. And right before he goes into the forest, he's clutching onto it, thinking of how faithful his wife is, and this journey to the forest is obviously going to bring him great sin and temptation. And so he thinks that if he can hold on to this pink ribbon, everything will be all right. He can just get in and get out and keep thinking about obviously God and faith and things like that. And then next up, we have the dark forest itself. I chose this because it's dark, it's gloomy and creepy. So I thought that that's a pretty good representation of the dark forest. And so when young Goodman Brown is actually going into the forest, it's obviously dark, primeval, and it's just filled with twisted trees that give off weird, ominous shadows. And it honestly just symbolizes just the unknown and it's the boundaries of the town. I mean, this is beyond the town, so it's nothing familiar to young Goodman Brown, and it just overall symbolizes lost innocence and just lost faith. And this is also where he meets the old man, and he will soon have to confront his own moral complexities. And so next up, we have the serpent staff. I didn't actually have a snake, but this staff is kind of similar to a snake, I suppose you could say. And the serpent staff was honestly a representation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and the snake that tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. And that's honestly the origin of sin. And that kind of almost foreshadows the coming sins that will be committed, and it just shows that the origin of sin is in this forest, and young Goodman Brown is presented with the devil and all these unfaithful characteristics, and he just has to keep on pushing, and he's greatly influenced by the staff and the old man because I mean they're just right next to him on his shoulder, telling him all these things that he could do, and he just has to keep on pressing forward. Eventually, he gets by the ceremony or close enough to the ceremony, and he's kind of hiding around, and he sees notable people from the town that are faithful and spoken people that profess the word of God, and they just should not be there at all. And so he's just super confused and concerned, and he's just overall shocked that they would be there. And that's when the witch and the cloaked ghosts come in, because all the townspeople were wearing cloaks as almost to hide their identity. And one of the women in the town that was pretty high up, she actually said that she was a witch. She greeted the old man as the devil and revealed herself to be a witch. And so that's where that comes in, and that just really just highlights the questions that are raised with their participation in the ceremony. I mean, because young Goodman Brown is just shocked that they would be there, and then this furthers him to ascend into his own doubts and things like that. And it really just adds a sense of dramatic tension and irony because these people should not be here, and they're just there, and he's just like, oh my goodness, why is this happening? And so finally, we have the walking stick that a man gives him, and it says that this stick can take you to the ceremony. It will teleport you there. And so young Goodman Brown takes it, then he hides out and he sits down and thinks about what's been going on. And this walking stick, honestly, is just another allure of sin because I mean he is given his ticket to the ceremony, but he could easily turn the other way, run away back to the town, or clutch this stick and teleport to the devil's ceremony. And it really is just eerie and surreal, and it really highlights the direct internal conflict that us humans have, and especially that young Goodman Brown has. And he eventually does go to the ceremony. He's seeing all these high-ranking townsfolk. The pink ribbon falls out of the sky, and that makes him think that his wife is there, and so he's like, I have to go there. If she's there, then there's no point in trying to be faithful because she's the most faithful person I know. And so he did that, went there, saw his mom, his dad. His mom was trying to drag him away. His dad was trying to drag him in there. And long story short, He ended up taking part in the ceremony, and then he ran away the next morning, came back into his town, and was just looking at everybody, couldn't respect any of the deacons or the pastors, and then he greeted his wife, and when not even greeted her, he just walked in and kind of brushed her off, and sadly lived the rest of his life in gloom and doubt. But he always wanted to stay faithful to this right here, but the temptations of the forest and all the people in the town that shouldn't have been there, and the serpent staff, well, the stick that took him to the ceremony and the serpent staff were all things that highlighted his journey into sin and delusion. And unfortunately, he came back to town and just lived a sorrowful life. And that will wrap up the unboxing of Young Goodman Brown by Nathaniel Hawthorne.